Review. The novel Beyond Antarctica is a large-scale work that manages to combine in a fascinating way elements of science, myth, fantasy, and human introspection. Structured in 5 parts and 25 chapters, with a prologue and an epilogue of particular force, the volume proposes a complex narrative adventure, starting from an apparently banal dream and ending with the discovery of a parallel world, hidden beyond the ice of the White Continent. This review, spanning almost 1,200 words, aims to analyze both the aesthetic qualities and the major themes of the novel, emphasizing its contribution to the area of contemporary speculative literature. An introduction to dreams and mystery. The story begins with the dreams of Dave and Anne, 2 ordinary characters who suddenly find themselves thrown into a chain of events that exceed their power of understanding. The prologue immediately creates the sensation of a mysterious call, of a gateway to the unknown. Dreams, which later complete each other like 2 halves of a puzzle, are not just simple narrative mechanisms, but metaphors of destiny and the subconscious that cries out to something greater than man himself. The author manages to build a tension between the real and the imaginary from the first pages. Dave and Anne are faced with fundamental questions. Is the world beyond Antarctica a projection of their minds or a hidden reality, kept away from the rest of humanity? This ambiguity gives the novel an air of deep mystery, reminiscent of the great works of science fiction and fantasy that start from seemingly impossible premises. The intertwining of science and fantasy. One of the novel's strengths is the way the author uses scientific and technological tools to anchor the story. The chapter on satellite investigations, geological data, and the discovery of an anomaly is an excellent example of hard science fiction, bringing realistic technical details that make the discovery believable. The creation of Kiro, the robot dog with artificial intelligence, brings another layer of modernity and symbolism. Kiro is not only a tool for exploration, but also a character in his own right, a bridge between the human world and the unknown. He tests the limits of technology and empathy, reacting to the Herpy shadow in an unexpected way, as if he had an instinct of his own. Through Kiro, the novel raises questions about the role of AI in the future, about the relationship between man and machine, and about the ability of artificial intelligence to feel and perceive what man cannot. The hidden world, a visual and metaphysical spectacle. The moment of passing through the hidden gate and descending through the crystalline corridor represents one of the most powerful sequences of the novel. Here, the author reveals his descriptive talent, building an overwhelming visual atmosphere. The first turquoise sunrise under the sky with 3 suns is not only a spectacular image, but also a statement. This world is not a simple extension of the known one, but a universe with its own laws, with its own aesthetics. Chapters such as The Singing Forest, The Golden Rivers, or The City of Light are true epic poems in prose. The reader is invited to contemplate the beauty of a reality in which nature and architecture organically intertwine, and sound, light and matter are interconnected. The City of Light, built of living matter, is one of the most original conceptions of the novel, a symbol of the supreme harmony between civilization and nature. The hidden civilization and its mystery. In the middle of this world, Dave and Anne discover a civilization that not only lives in balance with its environment, but also hides secrets about the past. The reasons why these inhabitants have remained isolated are gradually explained, through their history, songs, and living frescoes. A philosophy of retreat, protection against greed and the mistakes that destroyed other civilizations, is emerging. This narrative thread raises profound ethical questions. What happens when a superior civilization chooses to hide? Is it its responsibility to share its knowledge with the rest of humanity? Or is it wiser to remain silent, to protect itself? The shadow of Herpy. Fear materialized. One of the most original and disturbing elements of the novel is the appearance of the shadow of Herpy, an ancient entity, a remnant of a vanished civilization. Herpy is not a simple antagonistic monster, but a manifestation of collective fear, an echo of past mistakes. Its presence transforms the City of Light into a tense space, forcing the inhabitants to face their deepest fears. This entity symbolizes the idea that no civilization can escape the shadows of its own history. No matter how advanced it may be, the past remains present, and fear, whether individual or collective, can take on a life of its own. The way the author describes the effect of the shadow on the character's psyche is extremely successful, bringing the novel into the realm of psychological literature. Moral conflict, disclosure or silence. Another essential moment of the novel is the choice that Dave and Anne face, to reveal the existence of this world or to keep it hidden. It is one of the greatest ethical dilemmas possible, because each option has major consequences. If the truth were made public, humanity would know a civilization and an ecosystem that could completely change the understanding of the universe. But, at the same time, this discovery could destroy the fragile balance of the hidden world. Betrayal by a member of the official expedition adds additional tension, emphasizing the idea that the danger does not only come from outside, but also from within the team. The return and the promise. The last part of the novel brings a melancholic tone. The last day under the three suns is described as a moment of painful separation, a rupture between two worlds that, once connected, can no longer be completely separated. Fleeing through the tunnel and returning to the cold reality of Antarctica, Dave and Anne become the bearers of a secret impossible to share. The chapter about keeping silent, followed by the epilogue, leaves the reader with the feeling that the story is not over. The dreams that continue to haunt the protagonists are a clear indication that this adventure has much larger ramifications. Style and construction. The narrative style of the novel is descriptive, almost cinematic, but at the same time intimate. Each chapter brings strong visual details, without sacrificing psychological depth. The author knows how to alternate the rhythm, moments of action, the blizzard, the escape through the tunnel, the confrontations with Herpy, are balanced with passages of contemplation and reflection, the discovery of the singing forest, the history of civilization, moral dilemmas. The five-part structure suggests an almost mythological construction. The beginning, the call through dreams, the descent, Antarctica, the revelation, the new world, the confrontation, the shadow and the danger, and the return, the promise. It is a classic narrative arc, but refreshed by an original aesthetic and modern ideas. Impact and relevance. Beyond Antarctica is not only an adventure story, but also a reflection on humanity. The central theme is the fragile balance between knowledge and responsibility. The hidden civilization represents an ideal of harmony, but also a warning. Any progress that ignores the shadow of the past risks creating monsters. The novel is also relevant in the way it explores the relationship between man and technology, between nature and civilization, between truth and silence. In a real world marked by climate crises and power conflicts, the message that there are things that must be protected from human greed becomes powerful and current. Conclusion. Beyond Antarctica is an ambitious, dense novel, constructed with care and imagination. It is a work that can be read both as a fantastic adventure story and as a meditation on humanity, fear and responsibility. With memorable descriptions, complex characters and universal themes, the novel falls into the category of great speculative narratives that leave the reader with uncomfortable but necessary questions. If the prologue invites us to believe that everything begins with a dream, the epilogue reminds us that dreams never stop. And perhaps it is precisely in this promise that the novel's strength lies. In the fact that it opens not only an imaginary world, but also doors to our own shadows and lights.